Hi guys, so in today's video I'm sharing with you my own journey in freelancing. It will include some parts of my book reviewing journey as well because it's sort of interrelated but not entirely. So if you've come to my channel after watching my latest video on 10 high paying jobs, yes, this is the video you must watch if you want to know how to get started. But basically this is how I got started. Everybody's journey is very different in freelancing, but I hope my experience will give you an idea. So let's start with the very beginning, my very first gig. So I used to use my father's laptop. So basically where my father works, they give him a laptop to work from home. So most of the times he would be busy with his laptop. But sometimes I would persuade him to give the laptop to me. And that's when I explored these things called Facebook and then played this game called Criminal Case. But what also happened is that I started reading a lot of articles and I started befriending the writers of those articles, and that is somehow how I got in connection with a lot of people who used to write articles on the internet. And from among those people, and mind you, I was in the 10th standard, I was probably 15 if not 14, it was probably not 14, I was 15 when this happened. And there was this guy who wanted me to write an article on behalf of him, and he said he's gonna pay me 20 paisa per word. And it was about a 500-word article, and it was on a topic that I knew nothing about. But I knew that this is the first time anybody wants to pay me to do something. You know, that first thrill of getting a job, but it was not a job, it was just a gig. So I said, okay, I'll do it. And then I spent the whole day on my father's laptop. It was a Sunday, thankfully, because otherwise I don't think I would have been able to do that thing. I was always dependent on my father for getting the laptop. So I finished writing the article by night and submitted it to him, and I was almost afraid that he would say that this is a bad article, you can't do anything, and I would probably come up with an excuse like this is my first time. But he said that my article was actually nice, and I was shocked because it was a topic I knew nothing about. It was a computer technology related article, and I'm not a very tech savvy person. So he says, this is a great article, how do I pay you? And I was like, how does he pay me? Because I don't have a proper bank account. I did have a chota mota bank account which my father opened for me when I was very small to put the 100 or 200 rupees my aunties used to give me. But I couldn't really tell my father that this has happened. So what I told him is that, why don't you do me a recharge? And back then there was no Jio, so recharge was expensive. So he gave me 110 rupees wala recharge, and 110 rupees was enough to last for a few months at the pace of messaging or calling I was in at class 10. But then I told this to my mother that, hey mom, I worked for this man and he gave me this money. And my mother told my father, and my father was like, because you know, freelancing is such an unconventional career back then. My father did not understand what it was, and nor did my mom. So they were not sure if this is the thing they want their daughter to do. Also, I was in the 10th standard, right? So, you know, there was this ICSE exam coming up. So they told me that, you know, you shouldn't do this right now. You can do anything you want after 10th is over, like every Indian parent. And I was like, okay. But that was my first gig. After that, I never wrote any other article for almost 2 years. It was in class 12 that I came back from my long hiatus from writing, and I wanted to just get started writing. I was missing writing. I don't enjoy writing fiction, but I do enjoy writing articles, okay? Just to make it clear, because there's a lot of people who comment things like, hey, write a book, write a book. I'm not a fiction type of person, but I love writing articles. So there was this page which was looking for writers to write on their website, stories on their website. And although stories were not my preference, I was like, let's get back on track, okay? So I emailed them and they said, okay, we like what you write, so why don't you just write for us? And it was completely free, okay? But what happened is that while writing for them, I discovered that a couple of those people who were also in the group as writers for the website were into book reviewing. And I was like, what is this thing called book reviewing? And then they explained it all to me. They told me about how people review books. Sometimes authors pay you money to review their books and promote it on Amazon, Goodreads, via your social media. And I was like, I can get paid to read books. So that is basically when I made my second money by reviewing a book after a few months after joining that group. The book was terrible, honestly, but I got started at least. And then it sort of for 1 or 2 years, I kept reviewing books, and on the side, since I knew that book reviewing is not something sustainable, I decided to start content writing again. I had written only one article before this, but it was not very hard to find clients. You just join groups like content writing groups, and there are so many people looking for others to write for them. The only problem was the payments. Sometimes the payments would get really delayed. Now thankfully I have not had any fraudulent experience. I have had no client who did not pay me at all after the work was done. But the thing is, the payments were so delayed. Like May's payment I would get in June, July, which was not a big deal because I was still dependent on my parents back then. So I was not worried about it. But then there's a feeling, you feel bad when you've worked and you don't have the money to show for it. After almost a year, and this is exactly when I have passed out from 12, I was making like 2 to 3,000 per month. Some months, if they are good, I would make like 5 to 10,000. And that is when I suddenly decided to stop content writing after almost a year of doing it, because I was just getting extremely impatient. I was not liking the clients I was working with. So I said goodbye to that career and focused on book reviewing only. And then I started also focusing on my YouTube channel, which sort of blew up, and I did not have to worry about freelancing for almost one more year, when I realized that YouTube may or may not be a sustainable career. So it's always better to have one or two backup plans. And I'm the sort of person who is okay, like as Gary Vee says, I'm okay with juggling 9 balls and 4 of them falling than only juggling one ball, because I crave a sense of security. And what the career path that I've chosen, it's very insecure, like all of it. But anyway, so for almost a year, I did not do any sort of freelance at all, except like working for some authors sometimes. And then I decided, let's start something that can also become a career in the future. So I thought about marketing. I started marketing with very, very basic tools. I only had a phone. My father's laptop, I only used to get it once in a while back then. So I used to use my phone for it. What I used to do was basically managing authors, social medias, posting for them, creating contests for them, making marketing promotional campaigns for their books, but very basic versions of it. Like right now I know Facebook ads, but back then I only knew about boosting posts. But anyway, that sort of seemed to work. I would get like 2 to 3,000 rupees per project, and I know it's low, but then you have to think that I'm only in college, and it was good enough for me. And then side by side I was also working on my YouTube channel, right? And YouTube by then was paying me about 5 to 10,000 per month, because I was doing well in terms of views. And I also started getting brand sponsorships towards the end of my second year of college, that is last year. So everything was well and happy. But then I suddenly came across this course called Marketing Accelerator Academy. I'll leave a link in the description below. A lot of you keep asking for it. So what happened is that there is this amazing woman called Ruta Mittal, and she has developed this online course on marketing. And I attended a free workshop of Ruta, and I was blown away. It was the first webinar I have ever attended, and now I attend a lot of webinars, but I have never seen one adding as much value as the first one did. Your first webinar is going to be the best. Webinar is basically a 40-minute jam-packed wala knowledge which people create so that others buy their product. Okay, so it's sort of a sales funnel, but that's not the thing I want to focus on. The thing is, I found out that marketing is a very sustainable and very high paying career. And honestly, there are times that you have to think about your future. Now, while I really love what I do, which is reading books and making reviews on my channel, it is not a very sustainable thing, because tomorrow reading might go out of taste. It won't probably. Or tomorrow YouTube probably changes its algorithm. Tomorrow you may decide you don't like me. Like anything can happen, and I don't want to live in that sense of insecurity, because I have my family. My parents have looked after me very well, and I want to be able to look after them in the future if they need me to. Now, that is the thought that would constantly bug me day and night, and I decided, okay, enough. I did have the money to buy Ruta's course, which was about 22,000 rupees. And I think with GST it is like 24,000. But the thing is, the moment I got inside the course, I understood that this is the one of the best things that I've ever done for myself. About 1.5 months into the course, I got my first paying client. She was based in the US and she paid me $225 for a Facebook ad campaign that I ran for her. And I was so thrilled because it was my first gig as in marketing freelance, and it was not unpaid, it was paid. Now obviously I did have to show her some proof, which was, and that is when my previous experience from the book reviews and marketing campaigns for authors came in. I could show those data to this particular person to show that I do have some experience, which I did. But this was a very different level of marketing. And then I got some clients for Instagram, and then I decided to give out YouTube consultancy too. And YouTube consultancy is basically where I started teaching people about how they can use YouTube to grow their business, how they can grow their YouTube channel for a particular price. And this is the most high paying thing that I've ever done. I charge about $200 for one consultancy session, which is about 2.5 hours, and it takes me about 1 day or 2 days to prepare the whole thing because every channel is very different. But even then I find this very high paying, although like this is not regular work compared to Facebook ads, Instagram. This is very, very good if you want to just do something for a day or two. But obviously this has all come with my experience in YouTube. I've been YouTubing for almost 3 years now, so it really helps when I show them my own channel as a proof. So yeah, that is that. I started the course in February, and by May I had like 3 clients every month. Every one of them was paying me $300 to $500. So I was reaching my money goals in terms of marketing. Alongside, my YouTube channel is also like growing more than ever. So I am getting consistent revenue there as well. And overall, it's a really good time for me right now. Now, obviously, I'm always bugged by this sense of insecurity. Is this going to last? Is this not going to last? What if YouTube suddenly stops someday? Or what if suddenly people don't like what I do? And what if I just have to starve to death? Like, these are some thoughts that do come to my mind. But I should not let them take over me. Right now, I'm doing well in terms of all the aspects of my life. And I am really, really grateful to God for giving me my family. I'm grateful to God for not giving me any close friends, because friends take a lot of time out of your schedule. But jokes apart, I would say that freelancing has allowed me to expand my skill set so much so that I'm sure that the day, if the day comes and I have to take a job, I would be much more well prepared than anyone else. And mind you, I'm only 20 right now. There's a lot for me to learn, and I know that there would be a lot of you telling me things that I probably don't know about in the comment section below. The thing is, since I'm young, since I have started early, I do have a head start and I have more time to learn. That doesn't mean that learning stops at any age, but I just think that since I'm young, it's an advantage for me. And if you're young, and even if you're not, I think if you want to get started with freelancing, the best time is now. A lot of you kept asking me where I got my clients, and yeah, I got my clients mostly via referrals and people finding me in Facebook groups. That's it. I did not sign up for any sorts of websites like Upwork or Freelancer because I find them very shady, and not to mention that they are so competitive. You can't really stand out if you're just starting off in such platforms. And now at this point, I have a lot of aspects in my life. I have my marketing freelance. I offer consultancy to young people like you who want to make a career in freelance and want to talk to me for a while. And I love doing this because every day I am talking to people who want to make a better life, people who want to make a better world, people who want to make more money, people who want to make money from home, and I love what I do. Alongside there's obviously my YouTube channel, my favorite thing in the world, and lastly I have my studies as well. Honestly, when I took up English literature, I did not think that I'm going to change my mind in 2 years, but currently I have. And obviously I'm a normal human being. My mind changes, my life changes, and my favorite part of it is that I get to share it with you. And I hope that this video was sort of a chatty one and a very heart-to-heart one. You like it. I hope that you take something away from this video. I hope you liked this video. If you did, make sure you give this video a big fat thumbs up. I'll be back with another video next week. And till my next video, bye bye.